Hello and many thanks for joining us on NTA International News. I am Abdul Malik Adio. First, the headlines. Nigeria marks Maiden National Youth Day. The wife of the president to establish cancer screening centers in 6 geopolitical zones for testing and early detection. Plus, widows of military personnel get houses courtesy African Union. Many thanks for staying tuned on NTA International. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari offers deep condolences to Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President of the Republic of Turkey, and Kyriakos Mitsotakis, now Prime Minister of the Hellenic Republic, over the earthquake that struck both countries, leaving many casualties, I beg your pardon. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari commiserate with families in the city of Izmir, Turkey, and Greek islands of Samos, Greece, who lost loved ones, and sympathizing with the government and the people of the two countries as they make effort to save lives while recovering from the shock of the earthquake. Now, the government and the people of Nigeria stands in solidarity with Turkey and Greece in this trying period as they deal with the unmitigated fallout of the natural disaster. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari prays for the repose of the soul of the deceased and the departed and a quick recovery for the injury. Now, the Indigo Social Cultural Organization General Assembly worldwide has pledged to mobilize support for the present administration in solidarity to solidify the agenda of one Nigeria under the federal system of government. President General of the organization said this while briefing the media on the leadership blueprint after obtaining legitimate clearance to operate as an entity. Waka Usman Akwanga report.
The organization is committing itself to the Nigerian project, and this time it says the federal government deserves the cooperation of ethnic nationalities to build a strong, viral and united country. The organization further applauded the developmental strides of federal government in the southeast geopolitical zone of the country and advocates more in the spirit of national transformation.
This organization stands to speak the truth. We will stand to commend the federal government, and it is our interest that Ndibo will be united.
Ohaneze Ndibo General Assembly worldwide condemned the avoidable attacks on national assets and private investment and appreciates government efforts in containing the SARS protest. The organization also presents a certificate of reinstatement by the Corporate Affairs Commission to operate as a legitimate body. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has described the attack on TV Continental in the wake of the SARS protest in Lagos as a malicious attack against free speech and democracy. Now, the minister stated this in Lagos while on a solidarity visit to the organization. Anthony Forson report.
This building is the powerhouse of TV Continental. It is the nerve center of the station's operations. Today, it is in ruins. It was brought to this state by hoodlums who hijacked the SARS peaceful protest. Taking a walk round the premises is to take stock of the ruins left in the wake of the attack, from OB vans to official and private vehicles, just as the structural integrity of the building is under question. Describing the destruction as a product of arsonists who are all out to dwarf the voice of reason and stifle press freedom, the Information and Culture Minister condemned the action, expressing sadness at the extent of damage to the television station, assuring that government will continue to support responsible journalism.
Clearly, those who came here came with a purpose. It was to shut down the voice of reason. It was to shut down and attack the enviable free press we've enjoyed so far. But whoever attacks free press is also attacking democracy, because there can be no democracy without a robust and vibrant free press. And this is why this attack must be condemned without any reservation. And there's a direct link between fake news, the social media, and what happened here. But once again, we would not, as a government, be cowed by anybody in our determination to ensure there's a responsible use of the social media.
The director, TV Continental, Andrew Hanlon, who conducted the minister and his entourage around the premises of the organization, appealed for support, given their role and contribution to the socio-economic development of Nigeria.
This is an enormous struggle for us that we are going through now, and we would implore federal and local government, not just for TVC, but for all broadcasters, to give us any assistance you can so that we can protect our jobs, protect our services, and make sure that we have a variety of services that are free of charge to all the good people of the Republic of Nigeria.
TVC, even though back on air, he said, is not operating at its optimal capacity. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, the All Progressives Congress in Adamawa State has condemned the recent attack and looting of government and private warehouses, which led to the breakdown of law and order, saying the incident was avoidable. Now, the publicity secretary of the party in the state, Mohammed Abdullahi, stated this while briefing the media on the incident. Riyanu Bala, report.
The All Progressives Congress in Adamawa State says the vandalization of government and private warehouses as well as other public institutions could have been avoided if the state government had distributed the palliatives on receipt. The party, while commending the state government and security agencies for restoring law and order, also described the assertion of the state government that it did not receive any palliatives for COVID-19 from the federal government as unfair.
It is on record that the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Services, Disaster Management and Social Development was in Adamawa State to hand over 100 trucks of assorted grains, rice as palliatives donated by the federal government to the state.
The APC in Adamawa State, however, called on the youth to always embrace peace and be law-abiding in the interest of development of the state.
Make Adamawa a peaceful state, irrespective of our political differences, religious affiliation, or ethnic considerations.
In Yola, Rayanu Bala, NTA News.
In another development, a statesman and a former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Obong Victor Atta, says the sad incident that bedeviled the country in the guise of the SARS hoodlum protest that resulted in the destruction, looting and killings and is not religious nor ethnic rivalry, but a wake-up call for government at all levels to do something positive for the rapid socio-economic development of the country, Nigeria. Nsakang Okon reports that the statement stated this while addressing journalists in Uyo.
O God of creation, direct our noble cause. Guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign.
That was the position of the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Obong Victor Atta, who reacted in condemnation of the rather sad development where NSAS protest was hijacked by hoodlums to destroy, loot and kill people in parts of the country and the state. While joining in apologizing to the youths, Obong Atta expressed the hope that the nation would be healed for socio-economic development of the nation and appealed to the youths to rally around the government to build a united and peaceful nation. The former governor urged governments at all levels to do something now before it is too late.
I want, therefore, to appeal to our youth to eschew bitterness and to show further commitment to the peace process by halting all further protests so they will not be accused of participating in the destruction of their own future.
A minute silence was observed in honor of those that lost their lives in the course of the 3 weeks NSAS protests. In Uyo, Nsika Okon, NTA News.
Now, today, 1st of November, is the maiden edition of the National Youth Day in Nigeria. Now, today was approved at the Federal Executive Council in September this year by President Muhammadu Buhari. A day to celebrate, draw attention to and find solutions to issues that affect the youth. It also in furtherance of the President's commitment to youth-focused policies. Now, this year's approved every November 1st as a National Youth Day. And the event is ongoing at the State House, Aso Villa. And joining me in the studio to speak more on the maiden National Youth Day celebration is the Director in the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. His name is Adedayo Bamboye. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the news at 7.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you're having me here online and live on NTA International. Good evening.
Oh yeah, good evening indeed. Now, what is the reason for setting aside of the National Youth Day by the federal government to start with?
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to realize every effort, every support, and beyond that, it's also good to appreciate and perhaps also compensate. Now, Nigerians are known home and abroad to have immensely contributed to activities, development, socioeconomic development, whether in Nigeria or outside. And now, how do we have it? When you have put in your best in anything, the best reward is recognition so that you can be encouraged. And today is a day set apart, approved by the President, that every Nigerian youth must be celebrated, must be recognized for their doggedness, for their resilience, for even their support for the government, whether in or out of office. But what is important is a day set apart to appreciate their contributions to the development thus far.
It's good we're talking about their contributions now. Looking at the fact that, you know, the theme for this year, which is the maiden edition, talks about invest in the youth and secure our future. What does this seek to achieve?
Thank you very much. When you invest in the youth, the assumption by everyone is we want a better tomorrow. But beyond that, the youth of today, despite their supporting government presently, are waiting for the baton to reach them. Not only that, even the elders must benefit when you invest in the youth. A child upcoming must also benefit. So when you invest in the youth, you are talking of the gamut of every natural group would definitely be affected. And when you do that, you are bringing them out of poverty, you are bringing them out of stagnation, you are inadvertently bringing the nation out because they have the energy, and when it is rightly channeled, the best is what the nation expects from them. So the best investment is in the youth, and you will find them glowing and in all ramifications.
Indeed. Now, let's look at the fact that this event is being held at the Aso Villa. Now, can you give us highlight of some of what to expect and how this can actually ameliorate some of these challenges faced by the youth?
Thank you very much. As we speak, and as you rightly pointed out, the program is ongoing. And one of the program's key is that youth who had contributed immensely or excelled in their areas of endeavor are now to be recognized. It hasn't been a common practice. Right now, whether in music, whether in the creative arts, whether in the area of education, or even in also talent in inventions. And mostly this night, you have youth innovators in agric, in ICT, and in other areas. You know, they will be recognized and awarded, even in sports. But what is also key right now, or part of the activities today that stands out, is the unveiling of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund.
Nice.
We had cried for it a long time, and that is a 75 billion investment on the young people alone. It will run for 3 years. Many people have creative ideas. but they need support. It could be financial, it could be moral. This time around, we discover what extent of moral will you give, and when someone needs the financial muscle to start up or to scale up. And so the NYIF, that is the Nigerian Youth Investment, is now being launched. The logo is unveiled. That means officially it's kickstarting, and any youth that is qualified, no, this is an opportunity for them to let them know that the nation cares for them and they're ready to support them in every area of life. In addition to that, our dignitaries, whether ministers, in the presidency, in the legislative houses, they are also coming up to know which area of lack that these people need, that is the youth constituency need to support.
Adebayo Bamboy, many thanks for coming. But next time, I'm sure we'll take you on investment funds that you talked about. It's good to have you on the news at 7 and for giving us that highlight.
Thank you very much.
All right. Indeed, we now take a break. This is NTA International News at 7. When we return, more news. Stay tuned.
Demands of #EndSARS movement. Immediate release of all arrested protesters. Justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families. Setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. In line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and property of citizens. Federal government's response. On 11th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police dissolved the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory. On October 12th, President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation, stating the disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reforms. On 13th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police ordered all defunct SARS personnel to report at Force Headquarters, Abuja, for debriefing as well as psychological and medical examination. On 13th October 2020, the Presidential Panel on the Reform of SARS accepted the 5-point demand of the #EndSARS protesters. On 15th October 2020, the National Economic Council, NEC, directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality, related extrajudicial killings with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units. State governors should immediately establish state-based special security and human rights committees to be chaired by governors in their state and to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. This will ensure the protection of citizens' human rights. Members will also include representatives of youth and civil society, as well as head of police tactical units in each of the states.
What does it take to get ahead in today's world? To get your dream job, the perfect girl, even a table at your favorite dance club. It takes moving fast. It takes moving at the speed of 4G. With Intel 4G LTE, you've got it all covered. That's because you have access to super fast unlimited data that enables you move as fast as the speed of light. Now, no download is too heavy. No conversation too long. Nothing is impossible. Get Intel 4G LTE Advanced today and do so much more. Intel. Live more.
Many thanks for staying tuned on NTA International News. Now, the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is set to establish state-of-the-art cancer screening centers in each of the 6 geopolitical zones in fighting cancer through testing and early detection. Mrs. Buhari, who was represented by the Senior Special Assistant on Administration and Women Affairs in the Office of the First Lady, Hajo Sani, confirmed this at the flag-off of the breast and cervical cancer screening for women to this year's Cancer Awareness Month in Abuja. Justin Bemui report.
As the month of October rounds off as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the advocacy and awareness on the need for early detection and prevention of breast cancer, cervical cancer, and also the use of vaccine for prevention of the 2 most common types of cancers in Nigeria and the world continues to reverberate. As the National Center for Women Development, in collaboration with the Center for Gender Values and Culture, spearheaded the awareness campaign, the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, discloses that already one of the cancer screening centers has been established in Kano, and the primary aim is to encourage women, especially those at the rural centers, to be abreast of the disease and its effects.
All plan is in place and working very hard with experts, stakeholders, donor agencies, and other supporters and donors that will make this to happen. And hopefully, before the end of this regime, the First Lady of Nigeria, she's going to establish a state-of-the-art cancer center in Abuja, and some other, possibly in the 6 geopolitical zones. I think that also will increase not only awareness about cancer, but accessibility to the facilities for women.
Sad as the news and the statistics enunciated above are, the good news is that the early detection breast cancer is treatable. Cervical cancer, on the other hand, can be prevented by vaccination using the HPV vaccine. This vaccine is administered to young girls between the age of 9 to 13 years old, that before they become sexually active.
And we want to use this opportunity to call on governments, we want to call on private sector, we want to join you to call on every stakeholders to actually put more money where our mouth is. We want to see an end to cancer.
Earlier, there was an awareness walk and free screening in the FCT to commemorate the International Cancer Day, with most women availing themselves of the opportunity. Justin Bemui, NTA News.
And Joyce Ometu is standing by with trending stories on the Global Update.
The 1-month lockdown for England, announced this weekend by Prime Minister Boris Johnson, could be extended as Britain struggles to contain a second wave of COVID-19 pandemic, a senior cabinet member, Michael Gove, said on Sunday. Johnson announced that new restrictions across England would start on Thursday, 5th November, and last until 2nd December 2020. Meanwhile, Australia Sunday recorded no new daily coronavirus community transmission for the first time in nearly 5 months, paving way for further easing of social distancing restrictions. The state of Victoria, a coronavirus hotspot that accounts for more than 90% of Australia's coronavirus-related deaths, saw 0 new daily infections and no deaths for the second consecutive day. Talking statistics now, Worldometer dashboard as at 6 p.m. local time shows that 46,593,490 COVID-19 cases are registered globally, with 1,202,904 deaths. Africa Centers for Disease Control have urged the continent to brace up for a possible second wave of COVID-19 infections, as confirmed cases have reached 1,799,040. In Nigeria, out of the 62,853 cases reported by the Center for Disease Control, 58,675 persons have been discharged, while fatality toll remains at 1,144. In other news, with just 2 days to U.S. election, Democrat Joe Biden holds a commanding national lead over President Donald Trump amid voter concerns about the coronavirus pandemic. However, Trump is keeping his hopes alive by staying competitive in key battleground states that could decide the White House race. Some 90 million people have already voted ahead of Election Day on Tuesday, as the country is on course for its highest electoral turnout in more than a century. And that ends this segment. I am Joyce Ometu.
Now, as the saying goes, it takes a brave man to join the military, but it takes a braver man or woman to marry a soldier. Food for thought, right? Well, in line of duty, some of these officers paid the supreme sacrifice, and to this end, the Economic, Social and Cultural Council of the African Union is partnering with support of our troops organization in the provision of housing for their widows. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday has more.
The military and other security personnel make sacrifices by laying down their lives to prevent the compromise of the nation's territorial integrity, in most cases, leaving their loved ones stranded. To address the challenge of housing affordability facing the family of fallen heroes across the African continent, members of the African Union for Housing Finance adopted a 5-point plan for African governments to address housing finance issues, leading to this partnership with Support Our Troops Foundation.
We want to use the live, work, play approach, where inside of every estate there's social and recreational facilities. We want the houses to be free to the widows. We don't want them to pay anything. So as much as we can get for free.
Our role basically is to mobilize the stakeholders to see how we can also mobilize resources, and of course to also bring governments into it, provide a good wish and all that. And it's not longer just an ordinary project.
Life outside barrack and healing memories.
Gift Veronica Aloko, the president of Military Widow Association in Nigeria, told me that the project is a beam of hope for her members.
We cried out. We never knew that this thing is coming up to us. A project that will put roof over our head again. Give a woman a roof, she will smile. We're no longer in the cold hand of harmattan, rain. We have roof over our heads, and our children are secured.
If this program succeeds, at least they will be rest assured, even when they are going to work, they will be more committed. They know their children are protected. They have at least a shelter on their heads.
The project is aimed at building 16,000 houses in Nigeria, with a target of 600 beneficiaries in every 2 years. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Now, the Redeemed Christian Church of God says it will continue to touch the lives of people within and outside its host environment as an important part of its corporate social responsibility. Well, Aman Jabani tells us more as regards this report.
In line with the mission of Redeemed Christian Church of God worldwide, it is evangelizing the world and mankind with the message of God, as it is also affecting lives positively. The church is establishing its presence around the world with the determination to ensure that at least every 5 minutes walking distance in developing countries and 5 minutes driving distance in developed countries is a church.
We dedicate this building.
This is reflected in the dedication of 3 of its parishes under Nasarawa Province 3 at New Caro. Deji Afuyi, pastor in charge of the region, said the Redeemed Christian Church of God will not abandon church projects and commended the parishes for completing the house of God.
Here to cover the states. This is our immediate Jerusalem. And if you look at so many communities are here. So it is more work, even as the glory descend upon the church.
People feel that indeed we have a church that cares for its people. And here we are, to the glory of God, it has been commissioned today.
Pastors of Living Seed Area Headquarters, Great Expectation Parish, and Blessed Assembly Parish, in an interview, described the project as a fulfillment of God's purpose.
Also give glory to God Almighty. And all what we are doing is just for the expansion of the kingdom of God.
It's a new level. We've never had it this high. The regional pastor, the provincial pastor at the same time in a parish as this.
That's the news. Many thanks for staying tuned. Connect with NTA, stand against rape and rapists. Good evening.